because I had a moment where I took mushrooms. Actually, it was in college. I had a real moment of, I don't want to say clarity, but I was like, listen, I'm going to stop fucking around. I'm going to make it to the NFL. It was after my junior year. I had missed those kicks. I had 27 death threats. My roommates and I were, my roommates were like the people that really helped me survive through that entire thing, because I was going to try to I don't know if I was going to kill myself, but I was going to disappear. Like I got in my car and I drove to Maryland the next day, went over to Snowshoe, and I was just going to keep on. I was going to go I was just going to disappear. I had some money loans out. I was like, I've let down so many people. I don't want to do it. So I come back to get some clothes, and Reed, the guy that was with us this weekend, redheaded guy, I don't want to say he like slapped me, but he like gave me like this conversation. It was like, yo, you don't think we had to lead at halftime? You don't think I got a penalty for it? Like, all of this plays into it. Don't let all these outsiders kind of like bring you down or whatever. And I was like, I needed that. Like, I actually needed that in my life. And then my roommates and I almost got tighter throughout that whole process. A lot of players on the team, and we got real tight. And then that spring, after Rich left, Coach Stu was in there, and Coach Stu amped up the drug testing policy. Okay, so we used to be able to just take Visine bottle inside the tights. We get in there, no big deal, pull the Visine, sleep with it in between your legs so it gets your body temperature, pull it out, dump it into a cup, boom, shut it, here to the person, you're off running. Coach Stu, because he was so tight to all the players, he knew that's what we were doing, right? So Coach Stu knew that was our move. Like,
wait, would you put clean piss in the Visine bottle?
Yeah. So
was it enough?
You find like the Mormon or the super good person on the team. There was a couple that we could go to and said, hey, need this. Like, you're not pregnant, right? No, obviously can't have that happen, but just pee in this thing. And then you put the Visine bottle, you put it down in your tights, in between your thighs, and then you would just sleep there. You'd sleep with it so it gets your body temperature. And then whenever they ask you to go in there, it would be at your back, right? They'd be standing behind you. You'd go in there, you'd pull it out, you'd tighten it and go, here you go, thank you so much. They test it for warmth to see if it passes or not. You're good, you're off and running. So Coach Stu was like our guy, right? So Coach Stu knew that about all of us. Like he had overheard us talking and telling these stories.
Wait, your head coach knew this?
Well, he was the tight ends and special teams coach before he was the head coach, right? So he was cool with all of us. So then he becomes a head coach after Rich Rod goes to Michigan after that game against Pitt and all that stuff. And then Coach Stu, the interim head coach, wins the Fiesta Bowl. Then that spring, he becomes, our head coach. And he gave us like one of the first meetings, he like let everybody know, like, hey, there's a little bit different policy now when it comes to the drug testing, by the way, because there were some people on the team that I think Stu didn't want on the team anymore. They were on scholarship. And an easy way to get people obviously off scholarship is they fail a test or do something like that. And there were some guys, I think, that Bill thought Rich Rod was just keeping around, should not be keeping around. So that first drug test he gave, I think they tested 12 people, and I think 12 failed. Right? So all 12 failed and they were cut. So like that next morning, our conversation was like, hey, Bill Stewart was not fucking around when he was talking about, one guy did the trick. They said, the pea's not warm enough. Going to need it again. Goes back upstairs, gets some more, puts it in the microwave, even goes in there. They're like, sorry, not warm enough. Going to have to do it again. Like the testers were told the game by Coach Stu, right? Like they're like, no, not good enough. Going to have to do it. So change everything. So we obviously try to get around that somehow. And we found mushrooms. Okay, so mushrooms, unless Coach Stu was going to do a spinal tap, was not going to find out about mushrooms, right? And at that point, I decided I was not going to drink anymore. So really, like my only thing here was either spice wasn't even around then, or I did mushrooms, and I enjoyed them. But I had one night I remembered vividly, my roommates and I, because we were at a tighter spot than we had ever been after that moment where people were, legitimately telling me they were going to kill me and my family. And it was rough for me. Like I never felt that way. Normally people like me. So like whenever that was happening, it was a whole new thing. Needed it to happen to become the person I am, but it was rough. I'll never forget in the kitchen, it was like the end of the night. We were winding down from the trip. And I had like an epiphany moment where I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop fucking around. I'm going to actually focus on being a good ball kicker. Like that's what I'm gonna do. Instead of just the $40,000 in party loans and the penny pitchers and the drink till you drown Thursday, which I've gotten by with here the last 3 years, and I'm gonna put this away. And it was like a real moment of clarity for me, and I did that, right? Like I did that. Everything.
Were you on mushrooms when this epiphany happened?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was so. The next morning when we woke up, like probably went to sleep like probably 4 or 5 a.m. that morning. Whenever we did it, I wake up around 11 or noon, and I legitimately felt like a whole new person. Like I felt like a whole new person. I was like a little bit more driven, and I don't know why. Maybe it was just like I finally made the decision to do so. But then you could see everything for me just kind of turn up. Like I got a lot better, right? I still miss kicks or whatever, but everything just got a lot better because I made that decision. Like, okay, I'm gonna stop with the bullshit. I'm gonna actually focus here on trying to make a living, and then I even. Comedy and like all that stuff was talked about in that kitchen whenever we were having a good time coming off the end of a mushroom trip. And I asked Chris Herron, I was like, was there ever a moment where you were like, you know what, if I didn't do all this, I'd be the greatest basketball player on earth. Like if I like, did you ever have that thought? And he was like, no, his thought was that he needed it to play. Like that was his, and for me, that was a eye opener. I was like, so you viewed it almost as like, I don't want to say like a PED, but instead of something that would distract you from being your best, he viewed it as something he needed, which is just insanity. Because I think, like a lot of other people who have seen him now, he looks damn good, by the way. He looks like an actor. He's handsome. I would have liked to see him play clear-headed, ready to go. And he said that thought never even crossed his mind. And that was wild to me. That was fucking wild to me.
Yeah, well, for some people, though, I mean, there's healthy distractions and there's unhealthy distractions. Like if he's sitting there worrying about where he's going to get his next batch of pills from and whatever, and he's always worried about where that's coming from, he doesn't have time to worry about and have the anxiety about basketball and all the pressure being placed on him from the outside. So maybe it was a little bit of a distraction. How long did he play in the NBA?
2 seasons. Yeah, 2 years.
2 years, he got hurt, and then he ended up playing overseas. But his rookie year with Denver, he said he played his best because the OGs of that team, and he listed off a bunch of them. They knew he had obviously addiction. They took care of him. He said I was the 12th man on the bench and they took care of me. He said that was the best year of my life or whatever. And then when he gets traded back to Boston, that's an hour away from everybody he knows.
Going home, man. It's like Hernandez. They said going to the Patriots was the worst thing that could happen to him. He's right in there with all of his old crew.
I was very thankful I did not end up at the Steelers because boy, if I was a Pittsburgh Steeler, those first couple years. Oh, it would have been my fault. It would have been my fault for sure.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Play good, pay good, live good, die good.